Toyota is
General Motors.
Ford.
The company has just launched a new online shop that will thrill car buffs everywhere.
A shocking move that's shaking the very foundations of the car industry. Ford, GM, and Toyota have decided to abandon their century-old tradition of dealership networks and go direct to consumer. Imagine skipping the hassle of showroom visits, no more haggling over prices, and having your car delivered right to your doorstep with just a few clicks. Sounds like the future, right? Well, it's happening now, but is this bold new direction a revolutionary step forward? Or is it a gamble that could change the industry in ways we never expected? Buckle up, because what is coming next could redefine how we buy cars forever. What's driving this radical shift? To understand why Ford, GM, and Toyota are making this seismic change, let's look at the financial incentives. Dealerships take a significant cut from every car sold. This cut covers operating costs like real estate expenses, employee salaries, and inventory management. By eliminating dealerships, automakers can save billions annually. They'll no longer have to share profits or deal with the inefficiencies of independently operated dealerships. But is saving money the real motivation, or is this about control? Many industry analysts believe automakers are frustrated with the lack of uniformity in pricing and customer experience across dealerships. In the current model, two customers in the same city could end up paying vastly different prices for the same car, thanks to inconsistent markups and negotiation tactics. By going direct, Ford, GM, and Toyota can set fixed, transparent prices nationwide. This benefits consumers who are tired of haggling, but it also gives automakers unparalleled control over their sales and brand image. Then there's the EV revolution. Producing electric vehicles is expensive. It requires massive investments in new technologies, factories, and supply chains. Automakers are under immense pressure to cut costs elsewhere to fund these initiatives. Dealerships with their high operational costs have become an easy target. This move also reflects a broader cultural shift. Younger generations are accustomed to buying everything online, from furniture to groceries. They value convenience, transparency, and speed. Automakers are betting that these consumers will embrace a digital-first approach to car buying. Imagine a future where you can log onto a virtual showroom, customize your car using augmented reality, and have it delivered to your doorstep, all without ever stepping into a dealership. But this vision isn't without its critics. John Patterson, a prominent dealership owner in California, didn't hold back in a recent interview. This isn't about innovation, it's about greed. Automakers are abandoning the very dealerships that help them build their brands. They're taking away jobs and stability from our communities, all for a few extra dollars in profit. Patterson isn't the only one speaking out. Dealership associations across the country are gearing up for a fight, pointing to state franchise laws that prohibit automakers from bypassing dealerships. These laws were originally designed to protect local businesses and prevent monopolistic practices. If Ford, GM, and Toyota push forward with their DTC plans, they could face years of legal battles and regulatory hurdles. But the backlash isn't just coming from dealerships. Many consumers are also skeptical. The traditional dealership model, for all its flaws, offers something the DTC model can't: a personal touch. Dealerships provide face-to-face interactions, in-person test drives, and immediate service when something goes wrong. Automakers claim they'll offer virtual test drives and mobile repair services to fill these gaps. But will that really be enough? Rural and small-town communities are particularly vulnerable. In many areas, dealerships are among the largest employers and play a vital role in the local economy. Eliminating dealerships could devastate these communities, leading to job losses and reduced tax revenue. Local governments, which rely on dealerships for sponsorships and community events, might have to scramble to fill the gap. Some analysts argue that automakers are underestimating the ripple effects of this decision. This isn't just about selling cars, it's about tearing down a system that supports millions of jobs and countless local economies, said industry expert Amanda Rios during a panel discussion. The fallout could be catastrophic. On the flip side, proponents of the DTC model point to its potential benefits. Fixed pricing eliminates the stress of negotiation and creates a more transparent buying process. Consumers can browse, customize, and purchase cars from the comfort of their homes. And with automakers controlling every aspect of the transaction, they can ensure a consistent, high-quality experience. But what happens to customer service in this new model? Dealerships don't just sell cars, they service them. Without local service centers, will automakers be able to provide the same level of support? Some are proposing centralized service hubs or mobile repair units as solutions, but these options come with their own set of challenges. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: this shift is about much more than selling cars. It's about control, convenience, and reshaping an industry that has remained largely unchanged for decades. But is the DTC model the future, or are automakers gambling with their own legacy? The death of dealerships. For over a century, car dealerships have been at the heart of the automotive industry. These establishments weren't just places to buy vehicles, they were local icons. Dealerships provided jobs, served as economic anchors in communities, and symbolized trust between automakers and consumers. Yet, in a jaw-dropping move, Ford, GM, and Toyota have decided to sever ties with this century-old system and embrace a direct-to-consumer model. This isn't just a business decision, it's a full-scale disruption of the auto industry as we know it. Why would these automotive giants, whose histories are intertwined with the dealership model, opt for such a radical shift? Are they driven by a need to innovate, or is it a cold, calculated effort to pad their profit margins? The answer lies somewhere in the middle, and it's rattling the entire car market. Car dealerships are costly, no doubt. Maintaining prime real estate, employing sales and service staff, and managing inventory isn't cheap. These expenses are ultimately passed on to consumers in the form of markups, a source of frustration for many car buyers. Automakers like Tesla, with its DTC model, have demonstrated that cutting out the middleman can streamline the buying process, lower costs, and generate higher profits. But Tesla's success is only one piece of the puzzle. Consumer habits are changing dramatically too. Today's buyers demand convenience and transparency, qualities often absent in the traditional dealership experience. They want to browse, customize, and buy cars online, just like they do with electronics, clothing, and even groceries. With over 70% of car buyers now starting their search online, the days of spending hours haggling in a dealership are numbered. Ford, GM, and Toyota see the writing on the wall. By shifting to a DTC model, they're not just cutting costs, they're positioning themselves as leaders in an increasingly digital world. But what does this mean for the thousands of dealerships that have been the backbone of their sales networks? Will this move obliterate a trusted system and leave communities and consumers behind? A revolution in automotive sales. It's impossible to discuss the rise of direct-to-consumer sales in the auto industry without mentioning Tesla. The electric vehicle pioneer didn't just challenge the status quo, it demolished it. By cutting out dealerships entirely and selling vehicles directly to consumers, Tesla became the poster child for disruption in the auto market. The traditional players, Ford, GM, and Toyota, have been watching Tesla's meteoric rise with equal parts envy and fear. Tesla's DTC model isn't just about selling cars, it's about creating an ecosystem. Customers order their cars online, communicate directly with the company, and even schedule repairs without stepping into a dealership. This streamlined process has resonated with younger, tech-savvy buyers who value convenience above all else. But can legacy automakers replicate Tesla's success? It's not just about adopting a DTC model, it's about building trust in an entirely new system. Tesla's customers were early adopters willing to take risks for innovation. Will Ford's loyal truck buyers or Toyota's family-oriented customers be as eager to embrace such a dramatic shift? Elon Musk, Tesla's controversial CEO, was quick to comment on the move by Ford, GM, and Toyota. "They're late to the party," Musk said during a recent interview. "We've been doing this for over a decade, and now they're scrambling to catch up. The question isn't whether they can adopt the model, the question is whether they can innovate within it." Musk's remarks have sparked debates within the industry. Some argue that legacy automakers have an advantage over Tesla due to their established brand loyalty and extensive resources. Others believe that these companies, burdened by decades of reliance on dealerships, will struggle to implement the DTC model effectively. Dealerships fight back. If Ford, GM, and Toyota thought they could dismantle the dealership model without resistance, they were sorely mistaken. Across the United States, dealership associations are mobilizing to protect their turf, citing state franchise laws as their strongest line of defense. Franchise laws were established decades ago to prevent automakers from abusing their power and sidelining independent dealerships. These laws mandate that cars must be sold through franchise dealerships, ostensibly to protect consumers and promote local economies. But in the digital age, critics argue that these laws have become outdated barriers to innovation. Dealerships, however, see it differently. They claim that cutting them out of the equation will harm consumers by reducing competition and eliminating the personalized service dealerships provide. Some associations have even warned of potential monopolistic practices, where automakers could dictate prices without any checks or balances. Robert Johnson, president of a prominent dealership association, was blunt in his criticism of the DTC model. "This isn't about progress, it's about greed," he stated during a press conference. Automakers want to control every dollar of the transaction, and they're willing to destroy local businesses and communities to do it. The legal battles have already begun. In states like Texas, Michigan, and New Jersey, dealership associations are filing lawsuits to block automakers from implementing DTC sales. These lawsuits argue that bypassing dealerships violates existing franchise agreements and disrupts the delicate balance of the automotive ecosystem. For Ford, GM, and Toyota, these legal challenges could become a major headache. Not only will they have to navigate a patchwork of state laws, but they'll also need to invest significant resources in litigation. Some analysts believe this legal tug-of-war could delay the widespread adoption of the DTC model by years. In response, automakers are exploring hybrid models that blend DTC sales with limited dealership involvement. For example, dealerships could act as delivery centers or service hubs rather than traditional sales points. While this compromise might appease some stakeholders, it's unlikely to satisfy the staunchest defenders of the dealership model. Is convenience worth the cost? For consumers, the promise of the DTC model is tantalizing. Imagine buying a car the same way you order an iPhone. Browse online, customize the features, and have it delivered straight to your door. No haggling, no hidden fees, and no hours wasted in a dealership's waiting room. But as enticing as this sounds, the DTC model isn't without its drawbacks. One of the biggest concerns is the loss of the test drive. For many car buyers, especially those purchasing their first vehicle, the ability to feel how a car handles on the road is essential. Automakers are addressing this issue with innovative solutions. Ford, for instance, is piloting a program that allows customers to schedule home test drives. A car is delivered to the buyer's location for a specified period, giving them the chance to evaluate it on their terms. Toyota is going a step further, experimenting with try before you buy programs that let customers drive a car for up to a week before committing to a purchase. Still, these initiatives may not fully replace the traditional dealership experience. For older generations who value face-to-face interactions and personalized advice, the DTC model might feel impersonal. A recent survey found that while younger buyers are enthusiastic about online car shopping, baby boomers and Gen X consumers remain skeptical. Then there's the issue of service and maintenance. In the current model, dealerships handle everything from routine oil changes to major repairs. Without them, automakers will need to invest in alternative solutions, such as centralized service hubs or mobile repair units. But will these options be as convenient or as reliable as the local dealership down the street? Another concern is pricing. While fixed prices eliminate the stress of negotiation, they also remove the possibility of getting a better deal. Some consumers enjoy the art of the deal and worry that a uniform pricing model could lead to higher costs in the long run. Despite these challenges, the DTC model offers undeniable benefits. It simplifies the buying process, provides greater transparency, and aligns with the expectations of a digital-first generation. But as automakers forge ahead with this new approach, they'll need to address the concerns of traditional buyers and find ways to bridge the gap between convenience and connection. Communities and jobs on the line. The decision by Ford, GM, and Toyota to bypass dealerships is causing ripple effects far beyond the car buying experience. Dealerships aren't just places to buy cars, they're pillars of local economies. Across the United States, these businesses employ hundreds of thousands of people, from sales staff to mechanics. In smaller towns, a dealership might be one of the largest employers and a vital source of tax revenue. So what happens when these dealerships disappear? It's not just about job losses, though those are significant. According to estimates, the closure of dealerships could cost tens of thousands of jobs in the short term. Salespeople, service technicians, and administrative staff will find themselves displaced, with few alternatives in the immediate vicinity. For some communities, this disruption could lead to economic downturns, as fewer jobs mean less spending, which in turn impacts other local businesses. Local governments too will feel the sting. Dealerships contribute significant tax revenue to municipalities, often funding schools, infrastructure projects, and public services. Beyond taxes, many dealerships are key sponsors of local events, youth sports teams, and charities. With dealerships vanishing, who will step in to fill that gap? And some dealership owners are already looking for ways to pivot. Instead of selling new cars, they might focus on used vehicles, aftermarket parts, or even niche markets like luxury car customization. Others are exploring partnerships with automakers that still rely on dealerships, such as Honda or Nissan. But these solutions are far from perfect. The reality is that many dealerships won't survive this transition, leaving communities scrambling to adapt. Industry experts are split on whether Ford, GM, and Toyota have fully considered the broader economic consequences of their decision. They're focused on cutting costs and increasing profits, but they're ignoring the collateral damage, said Mark Benson, an analyst with over 2 decades of experience in the auto sector. This isn't just about dealerships, it's about the thousands of people who rely on them for their livelihoods. Some automakers have floated the idea of retraining displaced workers to fill new roles in the DTC model. These might include positions in digital sales, customer support, or logistics. But retraining takes time, and not everyone will be able or willing to make the transition. Meanwhile, the legal battles rage on. Several state lawmakers have expressed concerns about the economic impact of dealership closures. We can't afford to let these companies destroy local economies for the sake of corporate profits, said Senator Lisa Cortez of Michigan during a heated debate. Cortez has introduced a bill aimed at strengthening franchise protections, though its chances of passing remain uncertain. But even as dealerships and lawmakers fight back, some consumers are siding with the automakers. For them, the promise of a streamlined, transparent car buying process outweighs concerns about job losses and economic fallout. Is this a case of progress at any cost, or a necessary step toward modernization? The tech giants enter the arena. Ford, GM, and Toyota aren't the only players shaking up the auto industry. Tech giants like Apple and Google have been eyeing the car market for years, and the shift to DTC sales could be their golden opportunity. With their expertise in e-commerce and digital ecosystems, these companies are uniquely positioned to disrupt the industry in ways traditional automakers can't. Imagine buying a car from Apple. The process would likely mirror the purchase of an iPhone. Sleek, intuitive, and entirely online. From selecting features to arranging financing, every step would be handled through Apple's ecosystem. And with Apple's rumored car project, this scenario might not be as far-fetched as it seems. Google, too, is making moves. The company's advanced data analytics and artificial intelligence capabilities could revolutionize the car buying process. Picture a personalized online showroom tailored to your preferences, based on data from your Google searches and habits. It's a marketer's dream and a privacy advocate's nightmare. But the entry of tech giants isn't without controversy. Traditional automakers worry that Apple and Google could dominate the market, leveraging their vast resources and brand loyalty to overshadow established car brands. And let's not forget the potential for conflict over customer data. Who owns the information collected during the car buying process? The automaker or the tech company facilitating the sale? There's also the question of innovation. If Apple and Google succeed in entering the market, will they push the boundaries of what a car can be, or will they simply create vehicles that serve as extensions of their existing ecosystems? Elon Musk has already taken shots at both companies, calling Apple's rumored car project an open secret and dismissing Google as all talk, no action during a recent interview. For consumers, the involvement of tech giants could mean more options and more competition. If Apple, Google, and other tech companies enter the auto industry, it could force traditional automakers to step up their game, but it could also lead to a fragmented market where the lines between tech and transportation blur beyond recognition. The DTC model is accelerating these shifts, creating a perfect storm of disruption. Ford, GM, and Toyota might be the first to embrace this new approach, but they won't be the last. As the automotive landscape continues to evolve, one thing is clear: the competition is only just beginning. The subscription revolution, the shift to direct-to-consumer sales, isn't just changing how cars are sold, it's redefining the very concept of ownership. Ford, GM, and Toyota are already exploring subscription-based models as an alternative to traditional car purchases. This innovative approach could upend the industry yet again, giving consumers unprecedented flexibility while providing automakers with a steady revenue stream. Imagine subscribing to a car the way you subscribe to Netflix. Instead of committing to a single vehicle for years, you'd pay a monthly fee to to access a range of models. Need a compact car for your daily commute? It's yours. Want an SUV for a weekend road trip? No problem. These programs would allow drivers to swap vehicles as their needs change, offering a level of adaptability that traditional ownership simply can't match. Ford has already started experimenting with subscription services in select markets, and the early feedback has been promising. Customers appreciate the freedom to change vehicles without the hassle of buying, selling, or trading in. Toyota, known for its customer-centric innovations, is also exploring subscription options, aiming to integrate them seamlessly into its DTC platform. But this model isn't without challenges. Critics argue that subscriptions could end up costing consumers more in the long run, as monthly fees add up over time. There's also the question of accessibility. Will subscription programs be affordable for the average buyer, or will they remain a luxury for the wealthy? Then there's the issue of logistics. Managing a fleet of vehicles for subscription use requires significant investment in infrastructure, from maintenance hubs to delivery networks. Automakers will need to ensure that their subscription models are not only convenient but also sustainable. Despite these hurdles, the subscription model has the potential to revolutionize car ownership, particularly among younger generations. Millennials and Gen Z consumers who value experiences over possessions are more likely to embrace this flexible approach. For them, the idea of owning a car might soon feel as outdated as owning DVDs. Sustainability and the future of mobility. As Ford, GM, and Toyota embrace DTC sales, they're also positioning themselves as leaders in sustainability. Cutting out dealerships isn't just about reducing costs, it's an opportunity to streamline the supply chain and reduce carbon emissions. By centralizing distribution and delivery, automakers can minimize the environmental impact of transporting vehicles. Imagine a future where electric delivery trucks transport cars directly from factories to customers' driveways, powered entirely by renewable energy. This vision aligns perfectly with the industry's broader push toward electric vehicles, EVs, and sustainable practices. But the benefits don't stop there. The DTC model allows automakers to collect more precise data on consumer preferences, enabling them to produce vehicles more efficiently. By matching production to demand, companies can reduce waste and avoid overstocking, which often leads to unsold cars sitting idle on dealership lots. Toyota, in particular, is leveraging its expertise in sustainability to integrate green initiatives into its DTC platform. The company has announced plans to use renewable energy at its distribution hubs and invest in eco-friendly packaging for parts and accessories. GM is following suit with a commitment to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, a goal that will be bolstered by its DTC transition. However, the environmental impact of DTC sales isn't entirely positive. Critics point out that the convenience of home delivery could lead to increased emissions from last-mile logistics. Automakers will need to address this challenge by investing in electric delivery fleets and optimizing delivery routes. The shift to DTC sales also raises questions about the future of EV infrastructure. As more consumers embrace electric vehicles, the demand for charging stations will skyrocket. Automakers will need to partner with governments and private companies to build a robust network of chargers, ensuring that EV owners can recharge conveniently. Ultimately, the DTC model represents a turning point for the automotive industry. It's not just about selling cars, it's about reimagining the entire ecosystem, from production to delivery to sustainability. The decisions made by Ford, GM, and Toyota today will shape the future of mobility for decades to come. As Ford, GM, and Toyota dismantle the traditional dealership model, they're not just rewriting the rules of the auto industry, they're creating a new playbook. From streamlined online sales to subscription-based ownership and sustainable practices, these changes are setting the stage for a bold new era. But with innovation comes controversy. Dealerships are fighting back, lawmakers are raising concerns, and consumers are divided. Some see these shifts as a long overdue modernization, while others view them as a betrayal of the communities and workers who built the industry. Only time will tell whether this gamble pays off. Will Ford, GM, and Toyota emerge as trailblazers, leading the charge into a digital-first future? Or will the backlash from dealerships, governments, and consumers prove too great to overcome? What's certain is that the automotive landscape is evolving faster than ever before. As consumers, we're witnessing a seismic shift that will redefine how we buy, own, and experience cars. Whether you're excited, skeptical, or somewhere in between, one thing is clear: the ride ahead is going to be anything but predictable. So, what do you think? Are you ready to embrace the future of car buying, or do you believe the traditional dealership model still has a place in this world? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the revolution rocking the auto industry, make sure to like this video, share it, and hit that subscribe button for more insights into the stories shaping our world.